The 2025 is literally days away. That's right. The 2025 NFL Draft takes place from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, and the Baltimore Ravens select at pick 27. Ravens flock, we're accustomed to this. We're not new to this. We're true to this. That just shows how successful of a franchise the Ravens have been over the past few years. But I'm going to break down the top options for the Ravens if they stay pat at pick 27. Make sure you stiff arm that subscribe button like Derrick Henry. Give it a nice sack like Kyle Van Noy. Make sure you go ahead and tackle, hit stick that thumbs up, and let's push this video out to other Ravens fans as the draft is almost here. And as always, go ahead break the ankles of the bell. Go ahead, tap it so you know when all of our content drops. We'll be live for the 2025 NFL Draft on Thursday night on the Flex Zone podcast. And of course, leave a comment. What do you think? Who should they draft? Who do you want to see them draft? Is it a person in this video? Is it somebody I didn't name? I got a few options. I'm going to talk about it with your Ravens fans right here on the Flex Zone podcast. Your home for the Baltimore Ravens. Freshest content daily. Let's get into it. We know the 2025 NFL Draft is here. Would it shock me? Would it surprise me? Would it surprise you if the Ravens traded back out of pick 27 to into the second round for an additional second round pick? No, it wouldn't. That's what they do. But in this draft, where I don't think there will be a lot of trades in the first round, where I don't think there will be a lot of swapping of picks, because the draft class isn't as deep as years prior. Now, with that being said, I do think there is an opportunity for the Ravens to have an opportunity to really get a good player. I think there are going to be a lot of options on the board, a lot of options for them to pick at 27. Like I said, if they want to trade back, they probably can still get one of these guys I may mention. But there are a lot of options: offensive line, defensive secondary, linebacker, even. So the Ravens have a lot of options, and let's talk about a few here. And of course, like I said, comment down below. Let me know who you think the Ravens should select and who would you like to see them select. Let's start on the O line. Let's start in the trenches because over the past few weeks, and even maybe since this past season with the uncertainty at left guard, Voorhees didn't live up to the expectations we expected. We expected to lose Pat McCarry in free agency once we re-sign Ronnie Stanley. Now you look at it. You look at a guy on the offensive line, left guard, maybe a guy that maybe can play tackle in the future. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, the Texas track team, I call them. They had some good players on the outside, but Kelvin Banks Jr. was a standout 3-year starter at Texas. He does not have ideal arm lift. That's probably his biggest weakness. Now, that would probably project him to play guard, which the Ravens need. But I think if they're going to go offensive line, which I don't want, which I probably would be a little upset at because I think, yeah, it would be strengthening a strength. You would have pretty much all of your high draft picks over the past few years at offensive line, and it was solidified for your MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson. But I think there are more pressing needs than a left guard. So he would pay on day one. I think he could start. He has good footwork, uses his hands well, is athletic, very high football IQ, has been durable, doesn't get hurt, and he's only missed one start dating back to high school. So let me know what you think about Calvin Banks. He has the versatility that I like. If they are going to draft a lineman, which I don't want, let it be a guy who's versatile, can play inside, can play outside, has athleticism because when you have an athletic quarterback, you got to be able to move with him. When you got guys in a team that likes to run the football in a variety of different ways, you got to be able to athletically get outside, move, get to the second level, and pull, and be able to even anchor in the pass game as well. Let's keep it on the offensive line. Let's go to the reigning, defending national champions, the Ohio State University, and take a look at another guy who's been linked to the Ravens as of late, picking up a lot of steam, which I've seen. It's the one, the only, Josh Simmons. Now, Josh Simmons would have been maybe a top 10 pick in this draft, but he did suffer a patellar injury in October. He was doing fantastic. He is a guy who can also play tackle. He would be the best tackle in this draft, potentially outside of maybe Will Campbell. But he is able to come in. If he plays left guard, he would start day one on the Ravens, no question about it. Now, like I said, with Roger Rosengard and Ronnie Stanley, they're set. Simmons has availability. If he's healthy, that's going to be the biggest thing is the medical. It will be an option to think about because he's going to potentially be just as good as he was at tackle at guard. Now, they do need depth at tackle and they need depth at guard. 6'5", 317. He can do it all. Athletic, strong, has long arms, and nimble, coordinated blocker, has poised body control, and can eventually project to be that long-term left tackle. So played 4 years in college. You got to love it. And only 22 years of age. So two offensive linemen. If I had to pick out of the two offensive linemen, I like Josh Simmons. I think he's more likely to be there because of the injury. But I don't want to take a guy who I'm questionable about the medical if he's going to be ready for week one, which it seems like he would be if it happened in October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. That's pretty much 10 months. He should be good. But we've seen stranger things happen with Baltimore Ravens draft picks and Baltimore Ravens players when it comes to injuries. Let's keep it there. Let's go to the defensive line. A guy who the Ravens would take because he is an athletic freak. He is someone that is a matchup nightmare. He is a guy that has all the measurables that you love when you look at a draft prospect. But he could be a situation. I'm talking about Shamar Stewart, a very polarizing figure in this draft. He reminds me of Odafe Owe. Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. He's a polarizing figure, as I'm saying. 4.5 sacks and one forced fumble in 37 college games. Does that sound familiar? It doesn't match his traits. He's 6'5", 267, explosive athlete, ran a 4.59 40 and a 40-inch vertical, 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump. He showed some disruptive plays on tape, had 39 pressures in 2024, but did not finish and missed a lot of tackles. So he's one of those almost guys, athletic freak, test well, can run fast and jump high, but so can a deer. But he doesn't finish well. The Ravens need guys who can finish. The Ravens were not good at finishing sacks, finishing tackles, and that is where Shamar Stewart struggles. And I don't want that to happen. He has the 40-inch vertical, he has the 10-11 broad jump, runs a 4.59 40, 6'5", gets all these pressures, 39 pressures. Yeah, that's cute, but pressures, I call them almost because unless you're getting sacks, 4.5 sacks, one forced fumble in 37 games. So you're pretty much getting what, a sack and a half every year? So what, you're going to come to the NFL and get what, 4 or 5 sacks a season? I'm not taking you at 27. This is probably one of the least favorite options. I'd probably go with one of the linemen over Shamar Stewart, even though he does have that disruptive mentality and he would be a rotational player. Maybe he could develop, but I think the offensive lineman would give more of an immediate impact. But Shamar Stewart, I think, will be gone at 27 because someone is going to take a look at that athleticism and fall in love with it, which we've seen time and time again in the NFL draft. Let's go to the secondary. We know the Ravens could use some help in the secondary. And let's go to a guy I personally like, probably 1A on my list of people for them to draft. And that's one, the only Malachi Starks out of the University of Georgia. The dogs are in the building. Malachi Starks, versatile. That's what the Ravens need in the secondary. Smart. They need smart guys. He would be a typical Ravens first round pick. He would also be probably one of the best players available, and it's at a position of need. You can bring Kyle Hamilton down into the box more like they want to, closer to the line of scrimmage, and he could play more of that center field, which you like as well. He checks about almost every box. Athleticism, good ball skills, leadership, played for a good amount of years, can play coverage, and has good instincts. But he and All-Pro Kyle Hamilton would be one of the most dynamic duos, no question. The only thing with Starks is can he maybe cover those quicker, smaller guys in the slot? Probably might struggle there, but he has it all. Not really much flaws or things I really can nitpick, but I'd love to see him in a Ravens uniform, especially having Kyle Hamilton, bringing back our Darius Washington, having Marlon Humphrey, having my guy TJ Tampa coming back, and of course Nate Wiggins, first round pick last year. That would be great. So let's highlight Malachi Starks. He's one of the top picks I would love to have for the Ravens. Let's keep it with the safeties. Another guy who I think is going to be way gone, Nick Emenwari. If you watch our draft profiles, he's probably one of the more wanted pieces in this draft, one of the more sought after athletes from the University of South Carolina. Athletic freak, basically another Kyle Hamilton. You would have basically two Kyle Hamiltons, which would be fantastic. He could play more in the box, maybe play next to Roquan, Spell, Trenton Simpson, and could be that option as well, like I said, to come up and help tackling. He's a freak athlete. He's going to rise up draft boards. I don't think he falls past 2021. He lit up the combine, 4.38 40, 6'3", 220. So basically another Kyle Hamilton as well. He's best closest to the line of scrimmage, but has the speeds and playmaking to play anywhere. 6 interceptions over his final 2 years, and 2 of those were for touchdowns. Has the size, speed, versatility for a mini variety of roles, but best near the line. So kind of then do you keep Kyle Hamilton if you get a Nick Emenwari back as a center fielder with our Darius Washington have, like I said, Emenwari maybe up at the line in that linebacker role, spelling Trent Simpson on those types of downs. That's an option that you could have there. So we'll see what happens with Emmett Warrior, but I think he's going to be gone by the time we get to 27. I think, like I said, if he makes it past 2021, that is going to be a slim to none chance, I personally think, and I see happening. But let's continue with the secondary. Let's get to a corner I like because corner is going to be a need. Now, I think this may be more of a need in rounds 2 or 3, but a speed like we saw last year with Nate Wiggins, we know the Texas track team, I call them, it's going to be hard for EDC to stay away. And I think that's Jade Barron. If he's on the board, I think Jade Barron has a lot of upside. He could be a guy that the Ravens love to have because of that speed. One of the fastest players in the draft tried to break Xavier Worthy's record. Now, after Travis Hunter, there is a little bit of a drop off, but good player. Won the Jim Thorpe Award, nation's top defensive back. He is undersized, only 5'11, 194, but he has the speed, pretty much runs a 4.2, 4.29. He's right there in the same ballpark as an Xavier Worthy. He is more viewed as a slot corner, but he has the athleticism, instinctive, good in zone, can play the ball. He could be someone the Ravens could move around and maybe use very well as a blitzer with his speed and athleticism. And he's a solid tackler, I think, as well. So Jade Barron, I think, will be gone because of that speed and the way you can move around with him. And you need good corners in the NFL. But that's someone I'm going to be looking at as well. Let's go back to the offensive line because there's a guard who is someone I think we can really look at. It is Tyler Booker out of Alabama. He is the best guard in the draft. Only thing with Tyler Booker is he can only play guard. He's the top guard in the draft. High floor, very big potential. Could be a Pro Bowl guard from day one. 6'4", 321 pounds. Good in pass. Can move defenders back. Plays with nastiness that you like on the offensive line, and will come in and plug and play for the Ravens. Now, I personally, like I said, I want a versatile offensive lineman. Booker's pretty much only a tackle, but I mean, Booker's only a guard, can't play tackle because he doesn't have the size for tackle and maybe the arm length either. But inside, kind of reminds me of like a Ben Grubbs, another former Alabama guy, maybe even better with more potential. But I think Ben Grubbs went to Alabama. Let me know in the comment section. But having that possibly, I mean, he could start over Voorhees on day one. Then you can move Voorhees, I guess, to the swing position. But like I said, I think Tyler Booker may be gone by the time we get to 27. I really think Booker, Banks, possibly Eminwari and Starks could all be gone. Now, Simmons, I think, could fall because of the injury. I think Stewart could be gone as well. I'm going to say Stewart is gone by 27 as well. So I think you could have a situation where Simmons, Starks, and another guy I want to talk about is I've seen this rise up a lot recently. Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Now, he struggles with his weight. That is a big red flag for me. I don't want a guy who's on and off again, 350 one day, then 375, like a Falele on the defensive line. Falele has gotten it together, but Derek Harmon, he gets pressure. Now, the last time they did draft a first round interior defensive lineman was Raven Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor inductee Haloti Nada in 2006 out of Oregon. Harmon is enticing. 6'5", 313. Led the FBS in interior defensive lineman with 55 pressures last year. Big, athletic, doesn't miss game with injuries, and he's effective both not only in the run, because he can stuff the run, but in the pass. I think he could fall. Not in a bad way, nothing against him, but looking at what the Super Bowl did bring us with a Jalen Carter, with the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat, some of the others, I could see him fall into one of those teams that play in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs or maybe the Bills, who the Ravens lost to. They need big guys up front that can stop the run and get pressure on the inside. And the Eagles. I think he's going to fall maybe past 27. Now, I think he will be on the board potentially for the Ravens because I think he may be, is he what, the number one D tackle? But I see him and Walter Nolan, the second D tackle, I have ranked not too far apart. So do they go maybe the end of round one, early round two? I could see that because it's no Jalen Carter's in this draft, but Derek Harmon can come in and give you what you want. But 55 pressures is nothing to scoff at. But the weight issue might concern me. Now, that is the thing I would kind of be cautious with taking him, especially when you still got Matta BK and others. Let's get to the guy who led the nation in sacks, Donovan Ezaraku out of Boston College. Yes, where Zay Flowers went. He was fantastic. There are some questions. I'm not gonna say a lot of questions. There are some questions about the brother because I guess we're trying to figure out what is he, or can he translate all of this to the next level. Well, the brother had production, and I love production. 16 and a half sacks, 21 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 80 tackles last season for Boston College, even though they weren't that good. 6'3", has the size, 248. Redefined set of pass rush moves. Can probably continue to work on those, having a counter move and maybe another move after the counter move. There are questions about how explosive he is, but he has a high ceiling and he has production. He can get after the quarterback. He can see ball, get ball. I'm really liking him. I don't know if he'll be there at 27 because I think someone could maybe we could see a situation where the run of pass rushers starts and then we get to like 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and a lot of them go right before the Ravens pick. Like we see good players just go right before the Ravens pick. Des Bryant and others come to mind. I think this could be a situation where Ezra Rocco goes higher than he's projected, but he could be there at 27. I would love to have him. Could be a rotational guy. Could start if Owe leaves next year. Van Noy could be leaving. You need depth and production at pass rusher, and I think Donovan Ezeraku is it gets no better. 16 and a half sacks, 21 tackles for loss, three forced fumbles, and 80 tackles, so we can do it in the run game too. I would try to get this brother if he's available. I really, really like Ezeraku. And then last but not least, maybe one of my favorite prospects in the draft. I don't think the brother's going to be there. I think he's probably one of the guys that's like more of a pipe dream. Last but not least, Mike Green. Mike Green led the FBS with 17 sacks, dynamic Senior Bowl performance. We've seen him dominating Josh Simmons from the Ohio State, who's going to go in the first round. 6'3", 250. He doesn't have necessarily the arm length of typical pass rushers, but he's twitchy. He's a good athlete, and he has some off the field things, which I think the Ravens will stay away from, even if he is on the board. Some essay allegations. So with the Justin Tucker thing going on, I don't think a guy like him or James Pierce Jr., who I kind of like James Pierce Jr. over Shamar Stewart because I think James Pierce Jr. you can move around with a little more versatility, can play coverage, and I think is only going to get better. Shamar Stewart maybe just kind of is what he is, but Mike Green, he's one of my favorite players in this draft, and I think he would be a lovely pick at 27. I don't think he'll be there, but nevertheless, Mike Green, I think whether we get him or not, he's going to be a perennial top 20 pick in my opinion. But there you go. There you have it. I broke down the prospects for you. I gave you my opinion of who I think should be an option for the Ravens at 27. What do you think? Comment down below. Leave me a like. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. We got a lot of potential people. Malachi Starks, Nick Emmon Ward, Donovan Ezra, Jade Barrett, Mike Green, Derek Hahn, Shamar Stewart, Josh Simmons, Kelvin Bell, Tyler Booker. We had a lot of options just that I went over. So let me know in the comment section who you like the best. Maybe rank them, who you don't want. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. We'll be live for the NFL draft on Thursday night for all 32 teams, the entire first round from the bell to the final pick. And we'll recap it all. NFL draft 2025 at Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Historic Lambeau Field from Titletown. God's favorite host. Hopefully the Ravens can win a title with the help of their first round draft pick. Hopefully they make the right decision. I think they will. They've been one of the best drafting teams over the past few years. They've been ranked by the pundits and the publications as such. And ADC is one of the best GMs, I think, in the NFL. Whether you like him or not, doesn't maybe make the swings of others like Howie Roseman, but you got a good one, and we should cherish him. And let's go get it done, Raven. Go get the guy you need. You got 11 picks. Don't be safe. Go get what you need to be successful this season as they run it back and go all in. God's favorite host signing off. Let's see what the Ravens do at pick 27 as we get ready for the 2025 NFL Draft. One of my favorite events of the year. We'll be here with you to watch it. You want to play his own podcast. Only place giving you that Baltimore Ravens coverage how you want it when you need it. Be it for the NFL Draft. Let me know who you want to see the Ravens take at pick 27.